Second video of the day. Let's do this. Try to stay energetic. All right, so this question was, I have an MVP already being built, but I'm looking for a way, it's for a B2B product. Let's get that straight first. I'm looking for a way to encounter with businesses, corporations even. And not sure how to do that, or like how do I get those conversations started or reach out to biz dev. So first of all, number one, you have to research how corporate structures are designed. If you reach out to biz dev, like someone with the title biz dev in a corporate structure, unless it's for biz dev people, you're gonna get laughed out of the room, because biz dev and corporations are not business developers in the way that you might think. They are actually probably salespeople. They're not even they're like early salespeople too. They're not account executives. They're like early salespeople. So unless you're selling to salespeople, you're selling a product to salespeople, you don't want to reach out to them. So I'd be very careful about knowing exactly what type of corporation that you need to talk to, first of all, and second of all, understanding how their titles align, because what you're really probably thinking about is a corporate dev is probably who you're thinking about, and even then, you should reach out to a corporate dev for a pilot. The best way, in my opinion, okay, let's take a step back. I'm getting ahead of myself. When you're building an MVP for a corporation, you need to realize what are the needs of your customer. So a lot of times, especially if you're going Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, like somewhere in there, they're going to have enterprise issues that they need solved, right? So they're going to have, unless they have a set aside pilot program, they're probably only going to have to push you through procurement, probably more than likely. And then on top of that, they're going to need enterprise level features. And that is why a lot of startups focus on startups first. So they get enough momentum, they get enough customer feedback, they get enough money so they can hire engineers that can build the enterprise features. And enterprise grade level features are nothing to play with. They're nothing to play with. Like, you gotta have, I think it's like Compt TIAA security. You gotta have, I might have butchered that. It might just be Comp TIA. I think TIA is a financial services company. You gotta have that level of security. You gotta have user controls that go all the way down the stack. So you gotta have like really generous user controls. You usually have to have some form of a customer portal. You usually have to have some form of dedicated assistance. Customer success is probably going to be one of the things that you need to have pretty early. So unless you're entering into a pilot program, because some corporations have pilot programs, some hospitals have pilot programs where they're literally set up to help you get into that procurement process and make it easier for you. And they do test pilots for small either customer sizes or small components of their team. So that's one thing to know about that. If you're still going to go the corporate route after deciding, hey, I'm not sure if I'm ready to build enterprise grade features yet, you also need to know who you're reaching out to. What is the problem you're actually solving? Because if you're solving a problem, let's say your tool helps, let's say your tool, AI is very big right now. So let's say it's an AI tool that helps people take their meeting notes, right? It helps them build out a plan for hiring a new person. So it takes all their meeting notes, all their job description, all their it takes all their meeting notes, it takes all their task lists, it takes all their project management stuff, automatically formulates a job description. And then from there, it automatically formulates a hiring scorecard to make sure that you have a very balanced and as less biased as possible hiring process. And then it also can suggest what team members need to be in on that conversation. And then it also sends follow-ups, or it takes all the meeting notes, transcribes them, uploads them back with follow-ups, and then also takes it comes back. I'm thinking off the top of my head this product, right? Because it doesn't exist. It takes the notes. It automatically scores the candidate so that everyone has a non-biased scorecard for what you're trying to hire for, and then evaluates those candidates against a certain against a certain percentage level. Like let's say you only want to talk to the top 5%, but you get 1,000 applicants, it automatically weeds out the other 95% based on your scorecard. Like if you're gonna do that, you probably don't want to go to HR first. I know it might sound like you should go to HR first. I know it might sound like you should go to the COO first. Don't do that. What you probably need to do is go to like LinkedIn, see where they're hiring a lot of people at, because LinkedIn will tell you like the employee count, how it's increased or decreased over the last quarter. See who's hiring the most people, and then reach out to someone in that sector. Another way you could do it, if you're going startup route, is look at all the fundraising announcements and then see in those PR press releases through TechCrunch or whatever, see what the founder themselves are saying they're going to use the money for. So if they're like, oh, we just raised $5 million and we already have a marketing team that's already set, but we really need like salespeople. Okay, well, you need to reach out to whoever is their head of sales right now or their chief revenue officer. They're probably too small to have a chief revenue officer, but if they do, reach out to them right now and say, hey, I have a solution for you. I know you're about to hire probably 20, 30 people. We think that we can at least help you with 5 and then do a pilot there, probably for free. And if it works out really well, then we'll scale it up so that we can run all the 30 people that you're trying to hire. That's how I would run that process. That was extremely convoluted. And the reason why it was convoluted is because one, like these things, there's an art and the science to like building a company from scratch. I think that's like something that I've found that I enjoy a lot of. I like just building things from scratch and then like handing it off. And it is convoluted. You have to know like little tips and tricks. That's why I created this channel, honestly. I created this channel so that someone could like type into Google, hey, I have an MVP built, but I don't know where to start with sales. Like I want this video to pop up so they can see that there's like little like tips, little things that you can do to help you have an easier path of getting on target. One of them is to not go after enterprise. The other one is if you're going to go after enterprise, make sure you're talking to the right person, make sure you have the right feature set, make sure that you're not going too high up the food chain, because if you go too high up, they're going to sink you to death in procurement. So you actually want to start with like the smallest set or segment that you can provide value to, like the smallest amount. I'm not saying go bottoms up. I'm not saying do what Figma did, work it, or Slack, you work with, actually Figma did it with a designer. Slack did it with teams. So I'm saying maybe you want to do the Slack route where you start with a small team and then expand there, and then hopefully they'll evangelize you throughout the corporation. Or you can have a product that's so freaking dope that it is like Figma, where like one person uses it, and they share it with their team members, they share it with their team members, and all of a sudden those people leave, go to other companies or start other companies, and then the baseline of those new companies that they started is Figma. And that's how that thing spreads. Like I remember my first time using Figma, it was because someone had worked at a startup that they had used it before. So when they got to the next startup, it was a de facto when we hired the design people. And then I got to my next startup and then was like, oh, well, I need to like show them Figma. and then it kind of snowballs from there. So those are the ways that I'd probably go about it, is to make sure that you get the right person first. That is gonna help you, save you so much time. If you are selling to the wrong person, your path to traction will probably be 100x harder. Like you got to get your messaging, you got to get your positioning, you got to get your counter positioning, you got to get your marketing, your branding, your topography. You got to get all these things like just right, because the more right you can get it, the more you can focus on a small segment, the better it's going to be for your sales and your growth, so that you can expand into other like segments or target markets later on, even categories like way later on, or go upstream, go upscale to enterprise level features. Like that's going to be so important. But you got to start small. If you start too big, you'll be talking to the wrong person. You'll spend 3 months in procurement, 6 months in procurement, realizing you weren't even barking up the right tree in the first place. They actually don't even have a budget for what you're offering. So you, like, oh my gosh, I've seen so many people talk to the wrong people first, and it just like you might have. I would like I can't say it enough. Spend a lot of time figuring out who you're talking to first, and then go ahead and start doing the outreach, then start doing the cold emails, the DMs or whatever. Because if you hit it on the head, it's going to be valuable as soon as they see it. That's what you want. Now, they might not have budget, they might not have an interest, but if they see value on site, that means you're doing the right thing, and then they will likely tell you, "Oh man, like this is really cool," and they might refer you out. They might say, "Hey, I might use this at my next place." They might say, "Hey, reach back out in 3 months when we have budget." That's the type of stuff you really want to hear, because that shows that you're providing value. It's just not enough value to distract them at the moment or to pull from their budget at the moment. And that's okay. Just get a CRM and follow up. Anyways, hopefully this has been helpful. This is long. This is why I do short videos on TikTok. I do long ones here because it allows me to really get into the nitty gritty and details, the things that that you might not get from a Google search, you might not get from even a book, really, because they like to fill a lot of shit. So I really try to like keep this channel like super tactical, sometimes strategic, but really super tactical, so that you can take this to the bank, come back 6 months from now and be like, yo, I raised my pre-seed round, I raised my seed round, or I got into X accelerator, or I got to X customer based off of these videos. So that's the whole goal. That's why, there's no production value. I'm just in the room.